Buddhism is a humanistic religion. It's very important to understand that and, in fact, look at the definition. If we look at the English dictionary, Oxford Dictionary, this is the definition of humanism or humanistic, right? Rationalistic outlook or system of thought attaching prime importance to human rather than divine or supernatural matters. That means human. It's all from the human mind, the human capacity. But actually the American Merriam-Webster dictionary is even more precise. I love this second definition. It says, a doctrine, attitude, or way of life centered on human interests or values, especially a philosophy that usually rejects supernaturalism and stresses on individuals' dignity and worth and capacity for self-realization through reason. Simply put, using the power of your intellect, your intelligence, which is reason, you are able to practice it yourself by self-realization, understanding it and practicing it by yourself. That's really what humanistic religion is all about. It's about the human being's capacity and diligence in cultivating goodness, not depending on God to tell you what is good and what is not good. Basically, it is the comparison. I love this because Bhante is the one who translated this. Comparison of heteronomous versus autonomous. Heteronomous is what is called Silabbata Paramasa. But unfortunately that was not very well translated. It is often translated as attachment to rites and rituals. But actually that is heteronomous morality. Whereas what Buddhism is autonomous morality, known as Kusala Mula. Heteronomous versus autonomous. What's the meaning? Hetero. Hetero means something from an external influence. Heteronomous means you do it because of an external influence. Something externally is influencing your behavior. Either in terms of specifying what you should or should not do, or forcing you to do something, right? Governing you, dictating you, right? Autonomous is what comes from within. Auto is from within. Autonomous means you want to do it. It comes from within you. You understand and you know what is right from wrong. So the main difference between a religion that emphasizes heteronomous morality versus Buddhism that emphasizes autonomous morality is simply that Buddhism teaches you knowledge and understanding of what is right, what is wrong. And with that knowledge and understand, you begin to want to do it. So the gaining the knowledge and the understanding is Sammā Diṭṭhi. Gaining the knowledge and understanding of what is right, what is wrong, what is good, what is not good, that is Sammā Diṭṭhi. You understand the right perspective, the harmonious perspective. And then wanting to do things, wanting to reorientate your life towards that is Sammā Sankappa. Right? So simply put, that's what it is. So when we talk about heteronomous morality, which is Silabbata Paramasa, this is commonly translated as attachment to rites and rituals, but it actually means obeying rules, regulations, and laws governed from external forces. So basically, by obeying what is stated as laws or commandments. You have religions that say, we have 10 commandments. Thou shalt not kill. Thou shalt not this. Thou shalt not that. These are commandments. They are laws. If you break them, something is going to happen to you. So it is actually through a bit of fear, enforcing fear on people. So you fear this breaking of these commandments, fearing sinful and evil repercussions from breaking these laws. God will punish you. Punishment for wrongdoing. End up going to hell. You're fearful of going to hell. So some of these religions are pushing this line that if you do wrong, you do evil, you go to hell. And this is making people fearful of it. So in other words, they avoid doing wrong not because they understand it is wrong. They avoid doing wrong because they are fearful of going to hell. Or craving for reward from righteousness. And that is going to heaven. Oh, you do good, you praise the Lord, and all this, you will go to heaven. Right? So this is heteronomous morality, governed by external influences. What comes from within is autonomous morality, kusala mula. Kusala mula is commonly translated also as wholesome, skillful means. Kusala is wholesome and skillful. Right? Mula is the origin. So in other words, it originates from within us. We want to be skillful. We want to practice what is wholesome from within. So that is autonomous morality. The arising from within, the aspiration of wanting to do good because we know doing good is a good thing. Not because we are fearful of punishment, right? Or lust for reward of going to heaven and so on. And this is governed by what is stated as precepts. Now, precepts are not laws. Precepts are training rules, guidelines to train people. So it's actually guidance of training. Actually, maybe it's not even rules, it's guidance, training guidance, right? Guiding us. What would be good, what would not be so wholesome, and so on. So precepts, abiding by precepts. And it is centered around knowledge and understanding of the good and wholesome. Gaining this knowledge and understanding is Sammā Diṭṭhi, right? What is commonly called right view, but it is actually basically it is harmonious perspective, and understanding that all actions are subject to the laws of karma, right? So we want to do good because we know it will lead to good outcome. We do bad, it will lead to bad outcome. Knowing good leads to good outcome. Knowing bad leads to bad outcome. So we are motivated internally to want to do good and avoid doing bad. And basically understanding and practicing that good intentions lead to wellness, peace, and happiness. And this good intention is Sammā Sankappa, harmonious orientation. Orientating your whole life towards good intention. Right? Sammā Sankappa. So you have it here, basically. Sammā Diṭṭhi, Sammā Sankappa. And this leads us to the word aspiration. Aspiration is different from the other word, which is commonly used, inspiration. What's the difference between inspiration and aspirations? Inspiration is talking about being inspired by what you see. You see someone doing good, oh, you're inspired. You see some people performing or experiencing benefits from their actions, you are inspired. So that is inspiration. Nothing wrong with that. But aspiration is to take it one level deeper. When you see people doing good, you understand why. You understand the goodness of the wholesome act. Understanding that and wanting to do good yourself, that wanting is aspiration. So in other words, you're not doing something because you want to follow in somebody's example. You're doing something because you really want to do it yourself. So it's very interesting. Sammā Diṭṭhi is the part where we are cultivating based on inspiration. We are inspired by the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha. So that inspiration is very important. So Sammā Diṭṭhi is inspiration. We are inspired by the goodness of the Buddha, and by the teachings of the Dharma, and by the examples of the Sangha. Now, having been inspired, we now want to do it ourselves. That aspiration is Sammā Sankappa. The wanting to change your life, reorientate your whole life in that direction because that is what you really want to do. Kusala mula. Not because somebody told you so. Not because you're fearful of going to hell and so on. Okay? So aspiration is very important, and that leads us to one very next slide, next part, which then actually takes us into the Sila part of the Eightfold Path, but I'll just jump the gun and touch a little bit on the Sila part. Okay? So we covered basically the Panya part. This is the initial Panya.
You know, you spoke about this heteronomous and autonomous.
Yes.
The important thing here is that in this harmonious perspective, You know the first sermon, the Dhammacakkappavattana
Yes.
Sutra, the first thing that the Buddha focuses on is these two extremes.
Yes, the two extremes.
Yeah. The two extremes, really the two extremes come in the form of indulgence and now the two parts getting in here. One is our desire for pleasure.
Yeah.
That is one part of our mind wants to enjoy pleasures.
Yeah.
And the other part of the mind wants to be good.
Okay.
So it's the part of the mind that wants to be good,
Yes.
that wants to stop going after pleasure.
Yeah, the self-torment.
Yeah. So these are two conflicting
Vichikicha.
yeah. Vichikicha.
This is Vichikicha in the true sense.
Yeah.
In the extreme.
Yeah. And now the Buddha shows the middle path. And that medial way, what is the medial way? It's the complete relaxation of the body and calming the mind.
Yeah.
That is the medial way.
Conscious.
That solves the problem.
Yeah.
That solves the problem. And that means instead of going after pleasures, instead of trying to be good, we begin to calm the mind and relax the body.
Yeah. Mental equilibrium.
Yeah.
Conscious relaxation.
Yeah. Now that is why after the Sammā Diṭṭhi, we get into Sammā Sankappa. And the Sammā Sankappa is the reorientation where our focus becomes perfect tranquility of mind.
Yeah.
Now, in that heteronomous and autonomous thing, the words that the Buddha uses is Silabbata Paramasa becomes the one thing. And here you have put Kusala Mula.
That came from you, Bante.
Yeah, but the real thing is Aparamattam Samadhi Sangmaktanikam.
I need to get it from you.
Yeah. Aparamatta means the opposite of paramasa. Paramasa is the heteronomous.
Yeah.
Aparamatta means the opposite of heteronomous. That is the meaning of the word aparamatta. It's not depending on others' wishes. We are not even depending on the Buddha's wishes.
Yes.
We depend on our understanding.
Yes.
That is why it is autonomous.
Yes.
So,
knowledge and understanding.
Aparamattam, Samadhi Sangvattanika means orientation towards Samadhi, which is tranquility of mind. So, in other words, the autonomous morality is going towards tranquility. Instead of thinking of pleasure, instead of thinking of goodness, we are thinking of tranquility.
So good intention lead to wellness, peace, and
wellness,
happiness. That
peace
is
and
the
happiness.
tranquility,
That's right. Yeah.
which ultimately is upekkha.
That is the important thing.
Yeah. Where can I get this aparamatang sama sa whatever?
Aparamatta
Which
Sammā
sutra is it mentioned in Pali?
No, that is.
That is in one of the sutras.
Oh yes, yes. It's not not only in the sutras. It is when talking about the heteronomous thing, Silabbata Paramasa. The
Which
Buddha
sutra
say-
can I find this, Bhante? Which sutra can I find this?
I will
You let me
get
know.
it for you.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
I want to know the exact sutra so I can use the exact wordings.
Yeah,
And I
yeah.
read the sutra, then I'll be able to
Yeah.
use that.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay.